Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 6th of July. So looking at the euro dollar, in fact looking at all the currencies at the moment, I'll give you a clue, but the dollar's been sold overnight, so we're seeing a bit of a rally through. Now the euro, I was looking at this last week a couple of times, it pipped into this trend line that I've drawn here on the dailies. It's broken through at the moment, never managed to close above it last week. Will it do it this week and see this sort of change in direction? Largely last week was just going back a little step here. It was quite but it was rangy. It sort of put in a almost not quite a new low, but it popped in some lows there, broke the previous week's high. So it's been chopping around a little bit, but rangy. And you can see it clearer on this 4-hourly time frame. But what we've seen here, well, we've already seen a shove up to the weekly R1 and last week's high, so we're sitting right bang into last week's high as I'm recording this. Now it's always a bit awkward when it's moved so far through the Asian session, because you think, well, how much more has this got? And then some of these markets get a bit overbought, and so it is a case of waiting for the retrace and seeing what happens here for me at the moment. Now, how deep a retrace? Well, we'll see how the markets sort of move off this morning, maybe back to their sort of 8s, maybe ideally back to the 21s, but they're a long way away at the moment. You just think if it gets back so far, the market might just roll over. So we'll watch this carefully, but maybe just a shorter retrace back to their sort of 60-minute 8s. Let's have a look across and look at the pound here. So the pound was a bit different last week. It actually sort of had continued through a little bit and pushing up there across the earlier part of the week, held up on the Thursday, Friday, well, a little doji hammer there, and this morning, well, it's not really taken off quite so much when you look at it in that time frame, but still positive here on the 4-hourlies. And as I said last week, we've crossed this trend line here, so it suggests that the pound has got that more potential kicking through. And well, the pivots are a little bit wrong here at the moment. Let me just change my daily pivots to reflect not Sunday night's trading, but Friday's data here. Let's just switch those around so I can just there we go. So just I mean, Friday's data was in such a narrow range effectively overall, already up to the daily R1 here, but there is that trend, and well, it's already backed. It's done its 60-minute 8. Maybe if your cable would need a sort of another pull back, maybe the 21 would catch up behind, something like that, just to confirm. And I mean, it's certainly got this upward trend here, higher low through there, and looking okay at the moment, but not looking quite so attractive in some respects. The yen I can't really trade at the moment because it's just literally in a channel here, so I'm going to go away from that, although that's given up some movement actually a bit this morning, although just getting a little retrace in the last 4 hours, but it just sort of shows that sort of risk off movement has sort of gone back into risk on maybe, and we're seeing some money coming out of certainly out of the US dollar, and the yen has softened here this morning a little bit. Maybe a break that 4-hourly 50, maybe a sign that it's going to have some more legs in it, but at the moment, as I said, it's just too choppy. So moving aside of that, Aussie dollar, come out to the dailies here. The Aussie dollar's had started off, it ended up okay last week. It's sort of every day it's tried to edge up and closed up most days, and you've just got this higher lows coming through here on the 4-hourlies, and untouched weekly pivot below. If it was to start collapsing, well, that would be a target point there. From a daily perspective, we're already through R1s, R2s. It really does take, as I said, the problem with them running so clearly through the Asian session here is that they've taken away a lot of the movement for the day. Traders are a little bit more sit on the fence a little bit more on this occasion. You may get people jumping straight in. There's the Canadian dollars rolling further over here as I speak, but I'll be waiting to see what happened there. Looking elsewhere, just looking at the oil markets, and well, let's come out to dailies. Well, the continuation of this sort of slow growth up there is still running there higher lows through the 4 hourly still continuing, higher highs. It's running in that sort of right trend here. At the moment, just pushing, actually looking really to see if it gets back towards that 41.50. It might gradually work through, but remember now as we're moving into July, there is another meeting due soon with the OPEC Plus group. Okay, that's oil, and the S&Ps. We've seen joy elsewhere in the market, so I'm sure we're going to be seeing, there we go, let's just come into the dailies here. You can see the daily is already pushed up higher, and you can see again it pretty clearly last week, most of it chipped off towards the end of the week there, just sold off a little bit, but it's more than covered that already and broken through last week's highs. So looking bullish again though. Personally would prefer to see if we get a retrace, and then if it does, I mean it's gone through its previous highs, so if it does, just wait, just check that it's going to get a bounce, catch a bounce there, and move off a little confirmation bar or something. So that's pretty much it there. The news wise today, we've got little news out really. We've got the ISM non-manufacturing or services data for the US at 3 p.m. And business outlook at 3:30 for Canada. Both of those may create a bit of volatility come later in the afternoon, but that's it for today. Have a great one. Bye for now.